Okay, so y'all already know the energy we coming in with. Welcome to the block. We are so excited to see y'all. Hey, yo, Wilmo.
What's happening? What's
I'm so
up?
excited.
Oh, Havia, it's a blessing to be here. You know, we the first one of the year.
Yeah.
Pandemic style, we still fighting through. We still pushing it. So, you
Still.
know, so good to see you.
Facts. It's so good to see you too, bro, per usual. And you know, Wilmo, we got over 40 people in the Zoom room, so my
Ooh.
energy hit different.
Ooh.
All these beautiful people.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well,
Look,
going up on a Thursday.
okay,
All right.
on a Thursday, going way up. But look, y'all have the best seat in the house. Welcome again to the block. Tonight's theme is creators of culture. Okay, we got some heavyweights definitely in the Zoom room. Y'all are in for a treat. So tonight we're going to explore the history of Black art and culture in Charlotte. Which, listen, y'all already know it's interwoven in so many things here in the city. So it's only right that we give it its flowers, right, Wilmo? When we talk art in Charlotte, it's here. We just got to highlight it sometimes, but it's existing and it's moving, okay?
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, y'all, welcome. We're so excited. So listen, you already know how this goes. We are all family. We want y'all to be comfortable per usual. If you have any questions when it comes time for Q&A time, or you know, if you want to give someone flowers or share your perspective, you know where to head. Go into the chat and listen, let all the things be known, because that's exactly what we do. And once again, welcome to the block. We're happy to have you. Look, I'm just happy to be here with my brother Wilmo. And Wilmo, I'm excited because you got a special segment tonight.
Yes, I do. You know, it's Black History Month, so it's only fitting that we pay homage and recognize some of the accomplishments that were bestowed on us by such a great group of Black people who came before us and contributed so much to not only Charlotte but the world. And we're going to talk about one of our local legends here in Charlotte from Badersford Road. His name is Dr. Reginald Hawkins.
Nice. Let's get into it.
All right. So, Dr. Reginald Hawkins, he was a prominent civil rights leader and a dentist. That's important because back in those days, if you were involved in the civil rights movement, the system could discourage you from being active by threatening your livelihood. They can go to your job and say, hey, I heard you went to those meetings. I heard you went to that march. And they will take you right out of there and say, if you want a job Monday, you better calm down. However, Dr. Hawkins was a prominent dentist who had his own practice, so you could not shake him. What did that mean? He was loud, he was brash, and his house got bombed. His house was literally bombed off Badersford Road. He was that active, but it did not shake him because in 1968, he was the first Black man post-Reconstruction to run for governorship of North Carolina. Actually, first Black man to run for governor anywhere post-Reconstruction. And one fun fact about that gubernatorial campaign is Dr. Hawkins, when you run, you know, just as in any campaign, you try to drum up fundraisers and you call people you know. Well, one of the people he knew was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., just from activism. So he wanted Dr. King to come speak at an event, and Dr. King obliged. He was supposed to be here. However, at the 25th hour, he got a telegram saying that he was urgently needed at a sanitation worker strike in Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
And that is where Dr. King was assassinated. Dr. Martin Luther King was literally supposed to be out Badersford Road helping Dr. Hawkins with his gubernatorial campaign. However, he had to go to Memphis, and that is where he was assassinated. This is important because this shows that people, especially our youth, have the opportunity to affect and change the course of history from right here in Charlotte. As much as I love Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, they're away.
Yeah.
Dr. Hawkins is here. I can literally walk my son to his house and show him the contributions that he has given and has made to our city. That's Dr. Reginald Hawkins. Also, I'm going to use this back end to shout out Dr. Michael Bain. He is the Ghanaian national that freed Tessica Brown from the grips of that gorilla glue.
Okay,
that just happened this morning.
Okay, you know what?
Yesterday. So we just got to salute Dr. Michael Bain on this Black History Month. We all thought Gorilla Girl was gonna have to get the head shaved, but Michael Bang said, "Not God," and he came through, and he whipped up his own chemical solution and
did.
freed Tessica from the grips of that Gorilla Glue. I'm so happy for it, I don't know what to do with myself. So
Let me
a
take
salute, a Black History Month salute to Dr. Michael Bang.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up because listen, you bring up a good point, especially too about Black history, right? This idea that Black history is not just then, but it's especially now. And I love this segment that you did tonight, Wilmo, because it edifies like, hey, yo, listen, there's history alive, right? And now's the time more than ever where we could do research and find out our historians who are alive, and let's make sure that we, be inspired by them to keep doing this good work. Also, shout out to Tessica that she got the glue out her head. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I was following the hashtag like she owed me money, so it's all right.
Tessica is free. Yes,
she free.
Free.
You know what I'm saying? Eddie said you better preach in here. But look, y'all, so you already know the vibes. And shout out to Wilmo so much. Look, so y'all, that's not the only bit that we have for y'all. If y'all would like to hear more about Black history here in Charlotte, again, Black history then and now, we definitely have a treat for you guys. So keep it up. Also follow Wilmo. Like on his page recently this week, he killed a segment on his blog. And I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So Wilmo, thank you for knowing your stuff because it's amazing.
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Absolutely. So next up, friends, we got a community announcement. And honestly, Wilmo, I would like to equate it a lot like church announcements. So like if the congregation got something they want to share, maybe they could put it in the chat, unmute, and share some community announcements. What you think?
I like that. I like it a lot.
Boom. All right. So listen, family, here's what I need. We need the block to pull up on us tonight. So if there is a community announcement that y'all would like to share, let us know in the chat. And if you would like to unmute 30 seconds, like a real nice elevator pitch, you know what I'm saying? We will allow you to share what's happening on the block, around the block, what's going on in the community. Here's what we want to hear from you. So yeah, let us know and I will stock the chat. What's going on in the community, y'all? What's going on? Anything? One more?
Can I don't know how the sound lines up, like, Instagram Live, it's kind of off like the beat, but I was definitely about to freestyle to your snaps.
And I double dog dare you. I double dog dare you, one more. I double dog dare you.
We're about to freestyle these community happenings. And
okay. And today.
Can I do a shameless plug real quick?
Yes. Hey, Jay. Yes.
What's going on, y'all? Happy New Year and all that good stuff, even though we're like in year month 2. But anyway, I'm doing a screening tonight. It actually starts at 7:30, but you guys can jump on like afterwards. I'll put the link below. We're screening a film about the first Black variety show on American television. It was called Mr. Soul, and it was from 1968 to 1973. There's never been a show like this before or after, because I mean, it had anybody who was in art, music, politics. I mean, it was just a really great show, and really sad that, they went through a demise after 5 years, but great documentary tonight at 7:30. I'll put the link in if you guys want to jump on afterwards. We also have the director of the film, who is actually the niece of the subject of the film. She's going to be doing a Q&A afterwards too. So I'll put the link in the chat.
Nice, fantastic. Thanks so much, Trey. Yeah, throw that in so we could be a part.
Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Everybody, use the chat. Let us know what you're doing. It doesn't have to be framed as community event, but let us know what you got going on. Let us check you out.
No, and I'm so glad you said that, Wilmo, because listen, let's celebrate. We have life. So I'm just throwing that out there.
If not here, where else? Come on.
Okay.
This is family, amongst friends, amongst family.
You heard what he said.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason Jett at Grindhouse Studios real quick. He's hosting a producer lock-in later this month. There's also a songwriter lock-in on Saturday. So y'all check that out and follow Grindhouse real quick, because Jason Jett, he built that with his hands, y'all. I think I'm going to keep saying that, Wilmo, until like This man created his dream with his hands, like was in there day and night, made sure that that studio was everything. Y'all, please take a tour because it's truly next level. Also, shout out to Blues one time, Charlotte Black History Now Theater. Y'all click the link in the bio. And what else we got? Let's see. Yep, he dropped a link. Thank you for the link. All right, y'all. Anything else? Listen, just throw it in the chat and we will be sure to shout it out. So while y'all are doing that, we would like to shout out our sponsors. Shout out to Re-Emprise Fund. Shout out to Bank of America and all the homies on the block that are investors. Listen, we appreciate all of our sponsors and everybody who invested in this, but we can't mention the investors without the beautiful three minds behind this amazing thing. I love each and every one of them so much. Y'all go crazy in the chat for the founders, Dave, Davita, and Dave. I'm tossing it over to y'all. Let's get it.
Yo, what up? Thanks, thanks, Will Mo. Good to see all the faces on the block this year. Real quick, my name is David Daly Arrington. I am a co-owner of Hugh House. I'm passionate about bridge building and leveraging the power of art to bring people together. That's what it's all about, and definitely my investment in my own community is very much a part of that, and most passionate about making sure we're good before we even talk about going anywhere. So that's me. Kicking over to you, David.
Yo, what's up? Happy New Year, happy Black History Month, happy Black Excellence Month, all of the things. Davita Galloway, yeah, co-founder, owner of Hugh House. I do a few different things around the city, but listen, I am super excited about tonight. When I chatted with the team yesterday, we mentioned this thing called Christopher Columbus syndrome or whatever it's called. You know how new people come and they feel like they created the thing, not knowing that talent has been here. Black talent creators, we've been here. Not only are we here, but we've been here. So super excited about what will be shared tonight. That's really all I have to say. Dave.
What up, fam? What's going on? My name is David Butler. Some folks know me as Dave Has Wings, 130 Hugh House. If you don't know about Hugh House, we are a creative agency based here in Charlotte. We do a lot of work with various clients, full service creative agency, always looking for contractors, always leading with contractors of color, providing opportunity, getting that dollar circulating in our community. So if you are a creative of color, or if you're a designer or a copywriter, any of those things, feel free to reach out to us. Stay plugged in on the block. I also want to encourage everybody to check out the publication, itstheblock.com. It is an extension of this space that we're in together right now. It tells a bunch of stories of creativity that's happening not only in Charlotte, but also across the country and across the world, connecting those dots and building bridges to other creative scenes. And just having a space to use our voice to tell our own stories. So check out itstheblock.com. Thank you guys for pulling up. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys and continue to work with and for you guys. So peace. Back to Ohavia.
Absolutely, y'all. They the best. They're my favorite. They inspire me. So yeah, but real quick, Wilma, I actually got a community announcement though.
Wait a minute. What is it? I want to hear it. I'm excited.
I don't know who Davita thought she was. Like we was going to skip over the fact she celebrated a whole live birthday.
Man, come on, dog.
Come on, Davita.
For real. Oh, for real.
Listen, I had the vocals ready to sing you a quick happy birthday. But I'm not gonna do it. See there? That's why you gotta stay. But look, y'all, do me a favor. Show my big sis. Listen, a gardener here in this community, some love in the chat. She recently celebrated a birthday, and Davita, we love you in your brain. So look, we just wanted to just say happy birthday, sis, because you was away and now you here. So while we got you, we're gonna love on you. Absolutely. Yeah, happy belated birthday.
And super congrats to the oh man. You want to tell us, matter of fact, you want to go into the news about what Dump and Swap is doing?
Oh, we're Urban Outfitters. Oh, Davita, don't do that. All right, so listen.
Davita, you are Black History Month. You don't let us down.
Davita is Black History. All right, so long story short, her nonprofit Crown Keepers is doing this amazing thing with Urban Outfitters. I mean, I could run it off, but just know y'all, sis is working. And every time she puts her hand to the plow, things get done, communities get impacted. So this is a perfect segue. Thanks so much, Wilmo. Black History, then and now. We got a now in our own community. And one of them is definitely Davita Galloway. So we love you, sis, for sure. Yep. Wilmo, thank you.
That's my nah. Davita deserve her flowers now.
Indeed.
Dog,
Fact.
for real. This is a culture creator, much
Yeah.
like our guest today.
Yeah.
And they just gotta know, O'Havia.
That's on everything.
They just gotta know. That's the Trey Foles on, Davita. So,
Okay.
but we'll get there later. But I just had to give her those flowers while she was here on her birthday.
Absolutely. Rep your set, DeVito. We love you. So listen, friends, once again, y'all have the best seat in the house. Once again, our theme for tonight is Creators of Culture, where we explore the history of Black art and culture here in Charlotte. And look, here's the thing. There are a lot of people who've been new to this, true to this for years here in this city. And so honestly, I am so excited to join Wilmo and honestly highlighting who those people are who always show up in their artistic form and beyond. And look, they stay true to who they were. So Wilmo, who we got first?
So first we got the homie.
Uh-huh.
Jay-Z Attic Anderson. Jay-Z Attic is a special piece of this creative community. She is a one-woman Brooklyn. She is just all the creativity and art that you can imagine built up into one person, along with good vibes. She possesses all of that. She is everything. She provides so much to this city and does it thanklessly. If you've never been to Su Casa, there is nothing like that in this city.
No.
And Jay-Z Attic has been, she's been here from the beginning with that same vibe, with that same energy, being true to who she is and the things that she likes. And she puts that into an event, and we're all welcome to come. Is every single walk of life you can possibly imagine, all sharing the same space and loving each other and loving their experience there. Jay-Z Attic is just. Then I can talk about how dope the parties are, but then she's a vegan chef, like out of nowhere. Like the Satisfied dinners, she literally introduced me to vegan food 5 years ago. As you see, you see all that fat around the face. I'm a meat eater. So I went in skeptical. However, Jay-Z Attic soon convinced me that vegan food is indeed delicious. So, from not only impacting culture, but impacting my arteries as well. So we just thank her for that. Jay-Z Attic, I could just say so much. But, we're going to talk about Su Casa, what that means, how that concept came about. And I also, again, I want you to speak on the way you raise your children. She has 3 of the greatest children ever. So creative, so free, so confident. So I know this is supposed to be about the creativity of Charlotte, but again, I have a 3-year-old son. You have older children, and I would love to just hear some of the knowledge you have, the wisdom you have, that you could give it to me and maybe others in the chat with younger children. Just some pointers how to create just such beautiful, confident, willing to learn, just amazing kids. So, yeah, Jay-Z Attic is amazing.
Wow, thank you for that, Wilmo. That was a lot. I appreciate it. I mean, really. Um, yeah, you're doing it. I saw your video. I saw your Black History video with the walk with the baby. I was like, I mean, that's what's up. That's it. That's it. You just do the things. I don't even know if I can talk about. I don't want to scare you all with the younger, because I mean now I'm like my children are 16, 17, and 21. So the things that happen around here, I don't even really want to, I don't want to do that to y'all. But
Well, I tell you what, Jay-Z Attic, can you tell us about Su Casa? Because I tried my hardest to articulate it, but I know it's so hard to articulate a feeling. You gotta be there to understand. I can tell you until I'm blue in the face of what I saw. However, unless you're there, you cannot feel it. So can you just, give us what is it to you?
to me, it's home. I mean, I appreciate it. Su Casa started in my home. We all were, together at that time. Like when I looked and saw that I was paired up with God City. I mean, I've been joking the whole time, telling them like why they separate me from God City. But I'm like the godmother to God City. Y'all didn't know that. But I mean, we all just kind of started out together. We were I was a photographer, and I would host these parties called the headshot parties, if anybody remembers that, like back in the day. And people would come out and we'd take photos. I was living in Highland Mills at that time, and you know, when Su Casa first started, it started in the lofts in Highland Mills, and John would be there painting. You know, it was just about art and expression and culture. All ages were welcome. People could bring their children. That was something that I wasn't really seeing in Charlotte, and I'm still not seeing on the level that I like for it to be. Um, I've always been a decently avid traveler, so you know, I'd be in Brooklyn and there'd be dancing in the streets, and there's 3-year-olds, there's everybody. But at some point, Su Casa got to the point where, and you know, probably some of the people that are here was there when it happened. This is probably 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And we had one Su Casa, and you know, it was crazy, like cops everywhere. I was like, okay, you know, all right, this is now grown, and I'm in an apartment, and though it's a loft, and I had built a second level inside, but it's like, so the DJ would be up top. So that's when, you know, I started off with Justice. There were other DJs that would come through and spin.
Shout out Justice, legend. Hey,
Oh
amazing.
yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Justice. And also Still Will. Still Will and I went to college together at NC State, and I bumped into him probably 6 or 7 years into Su Casa's experience. And I said, you know, I would really love to have you there too. And so they are both the residents of Su Casa. But at some point we had to move it to a club. And at the time I was doing like a lot of work for Creative Loafin'. And so Carlton was my editor, but we had also become friends. And it's at the time, my kitchen was doing parties at Preview, and those parties, like it, you know, eventually expanded into other things, but he was doing parties at Preview. And I remember I met Carlton at one of the parties. I was a single mother and my children were away, and one weekend, and I just kind of wandered over there, and I had just begun to do photography, and Carlton was like, you know, what are you doing? I said, I'm a photographer. And he said, bring your portfolio on Monday. And I was like, oh shit, a portfolio, you know? So, I mean, and that's how it happens, right? And so I scrambled, I put all my work together. I took it to him, and then probably within, you know, a couple of months, I was shooting a lot of covers for them. So we had developed this relationship and this really solid work relationship. And I said, you know, I got to do something with Su Casa. And he said, you know, why don't you take it to a club and I'll help you push it. And so, and that was that. And we went to Dharma Lounge. And when we started at Dharma Lounge, there was 50 people. And, you know, I was walking around putting flyers on cars and doing the thing that you did then. And then, you know, 50 turned into 100, and 100 turned into a line, you know, having the whole lines, the last few Su Casas, the last Su Casas for the last year or so, long lines. So, you know, it's always just been about me having a space to do what I really love to do, which is dance, and which is, you know, the drum, and like really creating a space for dancers and for creativity. And I think at some point, like it's interesting because we always did like a Fela party called We Love Fela. And you know, I remember like this period where people would be like, who is Fela? And I was like, wow, that's, you know, that's crazy. And then it's like to be 10 years later and to hear Afrobeat on like mainstream radio, it's wild, right? So Su Casa's always reinventing itself and always looking for you know, the space that go ahead.
I know you have a video to share. However, I feel like this is a very important question to ask you. I believe Su Casa is so amazing that it deserves to be scaled if you would like it. How can organizations or entities get behind you to support what you're doing so Su Casa can be experienced by more people? Of course, in a post-COVID world.
So do you mean like in Charlotte or in other markets?
I'm only worried about home. I'm talking about right
Absolutely.
here.
And that's kind of been my attitude. We did try and do a Su Casa Atlanta like a few times. And but I've, like I turned down lots of sponsorship, corporate sponsorship, just because I've watched lots of parties that shall not be named from LA and other places that get corporate sponsorship, and those people make a lot of money, but it becomes something else. It just becomes
Mhm.
something else. And I'm not saying it can't be done, but in terms of, I don't know. That's something I'd have to think about. But yeah, exactly, Davita. It starts to feel different. But let's talk about it, and honestly, we all know from just visiting venues and experiencing nightlife, like Charlotte is definitely a space where Black spaces, they're hard to come by. I remember when we left Dharma, I got approached by a couple of people and they were like, you'll have to do this and you'll have to do that, and then you need 5 security people, and and you'll have to pay the security. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but like that's not my vibe. You know what I mean? Like that's not what we do. And it's like finding spaces to accommodate, because by the time quarantine hit, which I mean I've been hugely impacted by that. However, it's been an interesting space to have a break, because we were bursting at the seams. And as much as I love the space that we're in, I think it's different. Like I've been to parties in other cities where am I over my time, by the way? I'm wrapping up. How am I getting there? Okay, thanks. Where there's crowds and like just some of the OK Africa parties, because I was in partnership with a couple of people, Underdog and a couple of people from OK Africa. So they would come here and play Su Casa too, and they love it. But when I go to their parties in other cities, in DC and in New York, it's like it's 1,000 people, and those spaces are accommodating it. Like they feel good, they feel comfortable. Charlotte, I don't necessarily find that. So once it hits 200 people, people are kind of like, owners are kind of like, well, that's too many people. And so it's a thing, man. It's a real thing to try to figure out a space that feels good and feels accommodating and feels in line with the vibe. So um, I'm more than happy to talk about scale, to talk about, when I started it, we would do it once a month so people would have something to look forward to. And like by the time things kind of wrapped, like for quarantine, it definitely is one of those things where it's like, we could at least do this bi-monthly. So yeah, I'm down to talk about it. Like I'm down to create a space where like Wilma, whoever, I don't know what I can do. I don't know what kind of help. I'm often a person that likes to take on the things. And so when people say, how can I help? I'm just like, hey, you tell me, you know?
And that was definitely a law, because Arts and Science Council, Su Casa and the things you do is art in its purest form. And if they have resources to help you again enhance the just everything that you're doing, you are more deserving than anybody I know. So
Well,
that was
I appreciate that.
kind of
And
law.
you remember I went to the Gant. I did it at the Gant. That was probably 7, 8 years ago. I mean, I've reached out to some people before. I've had some meetings with some people. I do think right now is a better space for all of us to sit at the table and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. But I'd say probably like a couple years ago, I reached out to some people. But the response in Charlotte, if I'm being honest, has continuously been in those bigger institutions, has continuously been oh, we'll rent a space for you. And I'm just being honest and candid. I don't know who's on the call and who's listening, but that's what it's been. I do think that there's some different ways to approach that, and I'm down to do it.
Nice.
I think it needs to be, when we did it at the Gant, like it was an amazing space to make that happen. So I just think it just, let's talk.
Nice. You want to show your video?
I mean, I'm not showing it, you know, they
I
offered
mean,
to do that
you
for me.
intro, like, kind of tell us about it.
It's just a,
Bring
it's
it
just
in.
a little recap. It's like a recap of it. It's you know, I'm sure there's probably people on here that have better videos, but here you go. Thanks.
My name is Jay-Z Anderson, and I'm a Charlotte native. Su Casa is a dance party where people come to enjoy art and hear pretty much all kinds of things that just make you move and lose your mind on the dance floor.
Come on in, don't be shy. Let's pretend you and I have known each other for quite some time.
Su Casa started about 9 years ago in my house. I was looking to create a space that I could essentially dance in. I was traveling to all of these different places throughout the world, really, and hearing all this music, and just wanted to bring something home or create something here that cultivated the vibe that I wanted. We play everything in Su Casa, from traditional soul music to soca to Afro-Latin to Kuduro, zouk, reggae, Afrobeats, pretty much anything that has a heavy drum that you can move to, we play Su Casa happens every fourth Saturday at Petra's in Plaza Midwood in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are starting a new party that is called Wepa, a Sunday Su Casa home match. It will be every first Sunday. So the first one's going to be on May 6th, and you can expect pretty much what you hear at Su Casa with a different twist.
Nice. Yeah. That was I'm ready. Oh, boy.
I'm ready
I'm
too,
ready.
and I've definitely gotten a lot of you know, people that are like, let's do, and I'm like, I'm not, you know, I'm no.
And even I'm gonna go ahead and say, even that video still, you can encapsulate everything that happens at, like, shout out to Aura. Aura on the side fixing plate. You can get drunk, then need something to put in your stomach. Aura's right there on the side making plates. Vegan, you know, food, get some lentils, then start back drinking again. It's like
Aaliyah, I think you mean Aaliyah, but
yeah,
yes.
Aaliyah, I'm sorry, Aaliyah. Yeah. But your face painted, like it's so much. Afro beat in the back, dance music in the, like, it's, man, it's 12 parties in one.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I have thought of ways like during COVID to, but I'm like, you know, I just need a party, a real party when it's time.
Nice.
When it's time.
No, yeah, absolutely. And real quick, JC, I just want to give you, again, giving flowers, literally at a Su Casa's when I got my first like band of waist beads and I felt closer. I said, see, here we go. So like, honestly, I always looked forward to it. I love the camaraderie. Like you literally could go in there not knowing nobody and like be dancing with people you don't know. Such a vibe, such a vibe. And I love how you always brought that education, especially like with Fela Kuti and all that. So I appreciate you for real. That was everything. Bring it back.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, we will, and bigger and better and more expansive, like Wilma
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep interrupting the flow. I know we got other people.
We ain't got no flow. The flow is what we make it. Go ahead.
Let me also say this for those who spend a nice amount of time on the Black Party scene. Ain't no holding the line and, just try to, 50 million people out there so you can jack the price up to 30, to 50. No, it's just a good time. It's a party without all the BS that you have to endure in other spaces. So again, just shout out to you for creating a space for us to go genuinely to have a good time without all the extra.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I'm good for a good house party too. So my hope is always that Su Casa gives what you feel in a house party. You know, in your auntie and uncle's house party back in the day, like something really rich and something real close that you can grind up, have a drink, and just enjoy yourself. So yeah, we'll get back to it
one day. All right, my bad, oh heavy. I'm done. I'm
no,
done.
no. Listen, I loved it. Honestly, that video brought me back vibes, Omar. I ain't gonna lie. I was like,
big fact. I was looking for me in the corner somewhere.
I was looking for me like, now wait, somewhere I was brooking it down. Let me see. Where was I brooking it down? Okay, she didn't get that in the video. It's all right. Yeah, no, it was a vibe for sure. But look, y'all, if y'all have any questions just about the beautiful JC Attic, Su Casa, anything, drop them in the chat. And we will definitely address those. And I am so excited, you all, to introduce the next collective. So I met them all individually, and it was so amazing, but it is truly my honor to introduce to you all God City. So let me go one by one. So I met John at a Shout Charlotte festival, and in true fashion, this man was like spray painting, like he was just tapped in. He was doing his art. And I pulled up on him. I was like, hey, I'm Ohavia. And he was at UNC Charlotte at the time. And look, just a kind soul, really sweet. I met Marcus Kaiser at the Black Lives Matter mural. Again, so kind, so sweet. Again, doing their work, doing what they do. And I met Wally tonight. And honestly, he said grace and peace. And it was just such a beautiful vibe. And truly, you all, they are a collective inspired by divergent influences from politics to hip hop and all things in between. But no matter what they are inspired by, when it comes to this art, they definitely believe in educating, enlightening, entertaining, and assisting the people through artistic expression. They are what they live, and to call them a vibe will be selling them short. Marcus, thank you so much for being here. John, thank you so much for being here. I think Wally hopped off, but I'm gonna give him his flowers anyway. So I'm gonna toss it over to y'all. Thank y'all so much.
We appreciate you. I'm still here. Wally's still here. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and quick shout out. There's a couple members missing. Shout out to Antoine Williams. He's one of the founding members as well. I mean, it feels like New Edition when like Belle Biv DeVoe and Bobby Brown showed up, but nobody else did. But yeah, like shout out to Antoine. He couldn't make it tonight.
For sure. We appreciate y'all having us, definitely. And just to co-sign, JC Attic, she's a member of the fam too. You know what I mean? She just needs to make sure she stood and showed y'all what she do. She ain't need us to do what she do. She been putting on for the city.
Right.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So listen, I'm just so happy to like honestly introduce y'all, to have y'all here to hear about God City. So for those who don't know, honestly, just take us down this amazing road. Like, what is God City? You all do so much. You're tapped into so much. So I'm gonna turn it over to y'all. Anything you want to share and show, and we're gonna receive. We're ready to receive.
I'm gonna let Wally start it off. I'm gonna do a quick screen share, and we're gonna showcase his work first and some of the things that he was doing, and then like he can go into the intro and all that cool stuff. So I just did the screen share. Let me know if everyone can see that screen.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
And then Wally, as you go through, I'll just scroll through.
Well, I mean, God City, it started in Marcus's apartment. We used to live in the Noda Mills, and we just young cats doing art. But like everybody wanted to have a voice. We felt like our voice wasn't out there. We travel and see cool things going on everywhere else, but it wasn't happening in Charlotte. So we're not really the type people to complain. We just figure out something to do and get it done. You know what I mean? So all of us having different backgrounds, coming from different places, but ultimately feeling like we needed to do something that could open up other opportunities for people in the city. So the name God City breaks down mathematically. G is the seventh letter in the alphabet. A zero or O, a circle being a complete cipher, and D is the fourth letter of the alphabet. So that's where we got the God City name from. And it came from, I guess you could say, two different places. John has a little background, more personal background to it. And then we also used to love watching this movie called City of God. If you ever seen that movie, we used to put that movie on and we just work, draw, talk, hang out. So we had a bunch of reasons why we wanted to make sure the city was called God. The group was called God City, but people thought we were a church organization when we first started. I'm not even gonna front. Like but you know, we knew we had a bigger message than all that. We just wanted to make sure people understood and respected the city. When they heard the name, they respected what the city stood for. We felt like we was getting overlooked in a lot of ways, as most of y'all know.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, Wally, you bring up a good point. So I want to ask you your perspective on this. You know, again, let's go back to being gardeners of the city. There's a lot of people who, you know, get new to the scene and they start doing it, but y'all been here, y'all been doing it. So, but what I love is y'all never switched up. You stuck to your style, you stuck to the collective, you stuck to the mathematics. How did y'all do that? Like staying together as a collective? Like how did y'all stay on one accord and stay true to your style with the ever-changing climate of Charlotte?
I mean, you know, we never really tripped on what anybody else thought or felt. We just understood what we wanted to do. You know what I mean? And we always told ourselves and told each other it was bigger than us. Like we wanted God City to be something that people took pride in. You know what I mean? So it was never really about us individually, but we all had individual things and collective things we wanted to do. And we had our ups and downs, but like any family, you figure that out behind closed doors. Right. John's parents were very instrumental in sitting us down early and saying, you know, if you have problems, you handle that behind the scenes. When you step out into the public, don't let anyone see any kinks in your armor. Like maintain as a unit and you'll always be good. So that's what we did, you know?
Right. Come on, Wally. Yeah. Anybody else want to speak to that? John, Marcus?
Yeah, like that was always a big thing. We never really so much cared about what other people were doing so long as we were good. Like it's really easy to get phased out by like a lot of the surrounding noise around you. But the thing about us that made us different and worked the best for us to be able to stick together was that, you know, we were kind of only focused on our practice and we had a sense of community, which is something that I feel like a lot of artists at the time and even now don't necessarily. There's still a sense of community in some places, but it was like regardless of whatever squabbles we might have had behind closed doors, it was something where it's like, okay, but we're still fam bam and this is what this is, you know what I'm saying? So like regardless of like whoever was doing, we were always there to support one another because we knew that before people deemed us important or valuable enough to go ahead and follow, that it was always us supporting each other. So regardless of, you know, today's fan is tomorrow's critic. So regardless of like whatever it is that we did that went over well, you know, we knew that it was fleeting. So it was like, you know, regardless of whatever happens as far as like accomplishments and accolades, we were still family. So yeah.
I love that. It was always us supporting each other. That speaks to the collective.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Marcus?
Yeah, you know, just to piggyback off what John said, even before the art, even when we weren't doing art, we were always just in my apartment anyway, goofing off. And, you know, and it went, you know, with John and Wally, it went further than art because they, you know, we were into that hip hop scene too. Right. So, you know, we'd be at I remember like, you know, we'd be at a rhyme battle, you know, at like 2 a.m, but then we wake up and go teach a summer camp workshop at like 7:30. And I remember that was like our lifestyle and just like going back and always giving to the community, but also being like these hip hop heads, comic book nerds, and just trying to, you know, like just doing whatever we wanted to do, but keeping everything positive.
Yeah.
Hold on, Marcus. Did you make those camp kids battle?
Nah, we didn't. Those are some good old days.
No cipher, Marcus?
I remember we were smashing them in basketball. I took no mercy on them kids. Like, those were some good old days, man. That was almost like 15, 20 years ago now, and it's crazy. like we're still in the community and doing a lot of community driven work. We're not rapping no more, but
Right.
but yeah, that was some fun times.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, yo, Wally, real quick. Somebody said your freestyle game is unfuckwithable. Huh?
That was a young Wally. The dude that's here tonight, you know what I mean? It's a different ball game with that.
I'm just reading the chat, Brethren. That's all. I'm just reading the chat.
Oh,
I
hey,
mean,
you still got some more snaps in you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
What's up?
if my son used to challenge me, but I'm a young old man now, so I don't really be trying to keep up with these young whippersnappers when it comes to the bars anymore. And they like to get upset and do other things now. So I just I keep it with this art thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to stress, like, that was another thing for us, just like what Jay Ziatic was talking about. It was all about community, and we would incorporate everything we loved into our art shows.
Yeah.
We would incorporate it into the themes of the shows that we were doing. We tried it. We felt like, being young, especially, we felt like there's no limits to what we can do. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't ask anybody for permission. We made our own paths, and we took everything we were doing and cross promoted it into everything else we were doing. We figured out marketing. We figured out how to promote and get ourselves out there. We learned a lot of business things the hard way. And we had a lot of obstacles. Like, we couldn't get art shows when we first started. Like, galleries would turn us down. They see Black dudes walking up with baggy clothes, because back then everybody had on baggy clothes instead of tight clothes. And, they would literally, I think they told Antoine something like, "We can't afford security for y'all." We were like, "Yo, it's an art show. What you mean?" You know what I mean? So that just pushed us to go and do it ourselves. We didn't ask anyone for anything. We scraped up the money ourselves, rented out a space, and just started doing art shows. No point in asking anybody for anything. We put our own press kits together. We went out and promoted. We put out flyers, whatever we had to do to make sure that we were successful in what we were doing. That's what we did. We didn't wait for handouts. We didn't ask anybody's permission. We didn't care what was cool to anybody else. We knew what we were doing. And we also invited other artists at no cost to just come in and be a part of the art show. You know what I mean? We'd have people come in and bring art. We had DJs come and spin. It was because of the hip hop side, we'd have B-boys and B-girls come in. Like, we just tried to make sure the culture was intact all the way around with everything we were doing.
And you bring up this good thing, making sure the culture was intact, which is a big part of, like, being a creator of a culture, right? So not waiting for permission. Somebody put in the chat that y'all open doors for a lot of artists. That's beautiful. So talk a little bit about what we're seeing on our screens right now, the art, the element. I see some comic book element. I see a whole lot, but talk to us a little bit about the art, the inspiration that y'all draw from. Listen, we just want to hear it all.
I mean, me personally, I think, well, all of us were big into a little bit of everything, graffiti, comics, anime, video games, hip hop. So I think our first show was called The Art of Hip Hop. But all of that played into it. We had these dreams of being comic book artists and animators, and we still had the same struggles there too. We go to events and we're the only Black people in the building, as far as the creators especially. But it never made us hesitant. We still just go in the building and if you're comfortable with who you are, you don't have to adjust to the room adjusts to you. So we would just go and do what we did, because we could hold our head. We knew who we were, what we was there to do, and we enjoyed it the whole time. We learned how to put together books. We learned how to put together proposals, and we just go and create. So when you look at a lot of our art, me and Marcus work primarily digital, and even that was an obstacle because some people just don't respect digital work. But our thing is, in order for us to do digital, we have to understand the principles of traditional as well. We just wanted to be understood. We wanted to redefine fine art. We were tired of just people talking about fruit bowls and, which is cool. I'm not disrespecting the fruit bowls, but we want to draw things that we felt like was just cool and interesting, and also spoke from a different dynamic and a different standpoint.
Yeah, that's so good. So I was doing research on y'all, and I found this really cool article from Creative Loafing, who really just honestly, like, gave y'all flowers for real. But I love the opening in it, right? So it says, if you're one of those polite gallery crawling, Chardonnay sipping art lovers, then God City is different for you. And that's when they go into giving y'all your flowers about how you bring so many elements of just art and community into what you do. And here's the thing, I found mad articles on y'all, and it's just so beautiful to see that you all are still doing and still serving in this way. So the question that I have for everybody, whoever want to answer it first, is what are some ways that we can get this collective mindset into the next generation, like how we do this better together, like more than one, an army of like 2, 3, 4, 5 of us? How can we pass that on to the next generation of artists, especially here in the city as they come up?
I think we've been doing that. John definitely has been, well, all of us, but John's been real heavy, a lot with a lot of the younger cats that are coming up, just trying to make sure that if any of them need us, they can reach out. You know what I mean? Or we tap in with them sometimes just to say, "Yo, you good? Like, what you doing?" You know, I mean, and this is behind the scenes, and that's what we always been. We don't really like to talk about what we're doing. We just do. You know what I mean? But we try to make sure we stay connected and we stay tapped in so people know if they need us, we're accessible, because we didn't have a lot of people to turn to. So we try to make sure we can give that. But John, you know, John could probably speak more, him and Marcus, about, because I've been more reclusive as far as being out and about as heavy, but they've been very, very active. And, you know, whenever somebody reach out and say, "Yo, I got a question," like we have no problem putting crazy time into just having a conversation, because nobody did it for us. We didn't have nobody to turn to, you know?
Now, you have to remember too that when we came up, this is like old Charlotte. This is not gentrified Charlotte. This is very much not representation matters Charlotte. This is very much like, who are these black fellows in the cotton garments, like over here, like talking about,
it
like,
wasn't those black fellows.
No, it really wasn't. So mind you, like, it was something like, to piggyback off of what Wally was talking about. I mean, legit, they were talking about trying to have like metal detectors at the doors of these art shows and things of that nature. And it's like, you know, all we wanted was the freedom to go ahead and be ourselves and to make honest artwork. I think a lot of times too, that was what made it so different, is we didn't care if it went over well, because it was all of us, and regardless of whatever happened, we still had a good time. So you talk about like what artists can do in order to kind of unify. Well, the first thing we realized was we were more powerful banded together than we were individually. And it's something where it's like, you know, when we first started, like Wu-Tang, that was pretty much what it was. Hieroglyphics, you know, native tongues, these groups of people that were like multiple groups of people like knitted together, that no one person was above the whole squad. I feel like most things nowadays, it's all about the individual. And it's almost like, you know, you never see an R&B group now, you never see a rap group now, except for the super group, you know what I'm saying? But that's after everybody's gotten their success. And for us, it was something where it was like, okay, you know, no one person is above it. So like, you know, in that, you have to kind of let the ego go and understand there's a bigger picture for that. We had to model the desired behavior and be the people that we needed. And even now, it's more of a thing where we are being the people that we would have needed 15, 20 years ago that we did not have. So that's why it's so easy for you to go ahead and reach out to me and say, "Hey man, go ahead and hey, what are you doing? How are we doing? Come over to the crib, let's build," that kind of thing. And there's far too many young people to name whenever it comes to it. But at the same time, you think about, you know, the doors that were closed, or the older black artists that wouldn't give us the opportunity, or the people who would just look us once over and just not give us the time of day. And it's like, in order to eliminate that, you have to be the person you need. So I'm sorry, I took that and ran with it. My bad.
No. Don't apologize, because y'all dropping gems. Wally with his gems, you with yours. I be trying to catch him in the chat. No, it's good. It's good. So I want to ask y'all this, and then we're going to toss it over. When you hear creators of culture, what does that mean to y'all?
We're gonna let Marcus talk, because he ain't said too much.
I was like, Marcus. Marcus, when you hear creators of culture, what do you think of? What do you hear?
I think about innovators. I think about you know, like, because like Wally mentioned before, John mentioned, like when we were doing this stuff, like there weren't many outlets. Like, you know, I didn't know, like coming up as an artist, I didn't know like a lot of people that were doing the work I was doing. Like I came from like a graphic design background, and now like you know, like John just mentioned, I make sure to like to give back to the younger artists coming up now, because like I wish that stuff was around and when we were coming up, because I felt like we took a lot of bumps and bruises to like get to where we were. But like anytime you're doing something, and I'm not saying we definitely didn't create or innovate the Charlotte art scene. Shout out to Winston's dad, who's a pioneer for this whole scene, who was doing this stuff before us. But But I think anytime, like when you're in the space and you're kind of looking around and you're like, man, like nobody's doing this stuff like that I'm trying to do, or I can't find anyone that's like interested in the stuff that I'm doing. But then you still have that confidence to go out and do it anyway. Um, I think there's a little bit of like innovation to that stuff, and like we didn't have a blueprint for like what we were trying to do. Shoot, we were just like-minded brothers that were connected. That were, and actually, and if I'm correct, me and John met Wally at a comic book convention, and we all just linked up. And then it happened to find out that we went to like a hip hop spot later that week, and then I saw Wally rhyming, but I only knew Wally from art, and I only knew John from art. I found out that, and then we meet up in a hip hop club. But I was just thinking about like you know, growing, like I'm from here in Valley, growing up in here in Valley. I went to West Charlotte. Yo, I ain't know no brothers that was into like that could spit like comic book knowledge back to me, that was into video games, but then that was also into hip hop, because that wasn't the cool stuff back then. Right. But like the fact that we were like still like, yo, like fuck it, like, you know, this is who we are, this is what we want to be. I think it's something about that. And then, you know, like once stuff is like popular, then you like look back, because now like comic book movies are so popular. Like, you know, like I was reading Infinity War back in the 80s, you know, but like now it's like super popular and everybody's on it now. But I'm just like, yo, but it's kind of like that idea of like, there always has to be like sort of those pioneers. And, you know, again, like I'm not saying we created like the black art scene, because there was Tommy Robinson and all of those brothers that came before us. But like, but yeah, it's just like that whole innovation thing and like being transparent and being vulnerable and who
I mean, I want to say too, like, not to cut, but we also had no problem being open to connecting with others, from blues and the poetry scene to, you know, the hip hop scene to the comic scene to the gaming scene to the skate culture. Like, we were always open to whatever. And I think a part of that was just the fabric of who we were as people. And as far as creating culture, the culture is, you are the culture's in you. It's just releasing it, figuring out how to channel that and put it out to the people. You know what I mean? I also, real quick, like there are a bunch of young artists here who are doing, who are working together. And, you know, I see them from a distance, chop it up with some of them. Matter of fact, Saturday, I got a 2-hour Zoom meeting with a couple of them just to chop it up and tap in. But just a quick shout to some of them, Michaela, Tall, Chris, Josh, Zach, the homie Ty. Like, these are all, and I'm probably missing a ton of other people, but they're artists who are just out there grinding and trying to work together and build and do things and kind of follow. Like Marcus said, we didn't start the culture. We just figured out how to evolve it and how to keep it moving for the next. And then hopefully these cats are gonna do the same thing for the next. And we was about representation before it was a cool thing or a hashtag. You know what I mean?
Wow, Wally, you know what's funny? You're not gonna freestyle tonight, but you've been dropping gems, sir, with every quote. I've been trying to catch it. You said just evolving and leaving some for the next. And I think that's really awesome. Also in the chat, I want to bring up collaboration over competition. So heavy. And honestly, through the collective God City, we're seeing that it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, it's so awesome. And I'm just grateful to be here with y'all. Truly, truly. Wilmo, anything you want to ask, bring up? I want to give you the space, Bertrand.
Yes, I do. So Marcus and Wally both actually, and John as well, brought up how they had such nuanced interests in arts and entertainment. How did in a pre-internet world, how did you guys connect with others? Like, I know John mentioned hieroglyphics. Like, whoa, you know, it's not a lot of people in Charlotte who know, you know, hieroglyphics. They see alone all of these deep, you know, this deeply hip hop kind of. Right. How did y'all find common ground with the things that you like in a culture, the subculture of the subculture?
Well, you know, for us, a lot of times because there were so many of us and we had so many interests, like it would be nothing to go to the hip hop nights around some of the spots, to go to the comic shops or wherever else, or MySpace, it just started to pop then. So we do like a lot of networking from there. And because we were always just kind of out and about doing events, trying to put a face with the work, it wasn't something where you had to come out to the galleries to go see us. We were bringing it to the people, which is something a lot of artists, they kind of wait for someone to kind of climb the mountain to find them kind of sitting there in lotus position, kind of waiting to kind of reach out to them. And that wasn't us, because we were always right there with these folks hanging out and doing whatever else. So we kind of made it work from there. I want to say, what was that? While he was like Black Sheep, we would do Black Sheep, like the skate parks, like, you know, anywhere, festivals, you name it. And that was just what it was. I mean, and because the thing was, it was kind of us against the world, and we were a subculture. So we would just link up with other subcultures. And I think that was what made it so fascinating to a lot of the other people, because it was like one of them that made it. You know, it was like, okay, we are the people just like you, the nerds, the gamers, the hip hop heads, like the what have you. And then like Jay-Z was talking about earlier, Carlton Hargrove from Creative Loafing, shout out to him, because like a lot of times, like he will come out, Tanya Jameson will come out from like the Observer, and it will go ahead and do these write-ups for us. And it was really something that generated a buzz. So it was like, you know, we were actually out there being able to talk to people and network with people and kind of spreading this word and getting this sort of sense of community where people want to come out and actually be a part of what was going on, just because it was kind of the perfect storm. And it was something where it's like, again, we're not sitting here looking comparatively at what other people are doing, because we're making this stuff in our own like collective pool. And people just kind of see it and say, huh, what's that? Who's making that noise over here? Let me find out. And that was kind of what it was. I didn't mean to take that, fellas, and run with it, but that was.
Nah, you good. That's what it was. And we just made sure we collaborate too. We cross promote. If somebody else had something, we'd say, yo, come out to this, and we'd go out to this. And with the music, like for me, John, Marcus, and Antoine, it was nothing to walk in the house or the apartment and somebody say, yo, you heard such and such, and put it on. Like I didn't know about MF Doom until the God City Crew. You know what I'm saying? Like I was very, very, very educated on Outkast and Wu-Tang, but I had no clue about Doom. So they put me on to that, and it was like I took it and spread that to somewhere else, and that's how we did anything that we gained or we learned about, or you know, sharing amongst each other. Like, cause it was cool to walk in like, yo, it's like cats having dope sneakers on, and you can't wait to walk in with those dope kicks, and somebody be like, oh snap, where you get them? That's how it was for us with music and culture and everything else. And then trying to take it back to where we were from at the same time. I'm a North Charlotte cat, so it wasn't a lot of dudes or a lot of people, period, doing what we were doing, but it was respected because we were true to who we were. We didn't have to pretend to be anything other. I remember our first show, like they tried to give us a publicist that wanted us to say that we were these criminal gangsters, and art had saved our lives, you know, which there's a truth in there, but it's like that wasn't who we all were, and that's not the image that we were trying to push, you know what I mean? But they really wanted us to be on some like, yo, I was just about to rob the store, and then I found a pencil and started drawing, and now my life is
sidewalk somewhere.
Right.
I was just about to rob a store and I found a pencil. But look, y'all.
Good thing Sandra Bullock came around and saved you, huh, Wally?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. But listen, we appreciate y'all. And now's the time. If y'all have any questions for JC Attic, if y'all have any questions for the God City Collective, now's the time. We're about to get into our breakout rooms. So listen, get your fingers ready, or, you know, unmute yourself, because you're definitely in for a treat. So listen, follow the prompts on your screen and it'll take you there. It'll take you there. So just be mindful.
We're actually going to let you choose where you want to go.
Oh. Dave, real quick, because I'm the one in the class that always did this. So it's at the bottom of our screen, breakout rooms, and we could pick.
There you go.
Hey, look, I'm just the one in the classroom. That's all.
Oh, good. You're helping others. I'm sure you are. Oh, what up?
Sorry, bro. I was too busy dancing.
I see that.
Listen, all I know is I better get this playlist. We got to figure out how we can get access to the playlist. The playlist is fuego. But I wish I had more time in the breakout room. John was getting in it, and I was writing down.
All right, my bad, yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna cry in the car. It's fine, John. Don't worry. No, but it was so cool. So y'all in the chat, let me know, how was your breakout rooms? Womo, how's the breakout room? Oh, you on mute, bro.
It was an opportunity for, again, it's about Jay-Z Attic and just everything she is contributing to the idea of cool in Charlotte. What we didn't talk about in the living room, I guess that's where everybody, you know, we discussed it in the breakout room, is Jay-Z was recently in GQ magazine with her son, you know, and she showed us that. And just again, it's so many corners to her life that you cannot begin to scratch the surface of how much she does and where she is. So, you know, we just got to hear about some more of those things and explore. And I'm glad I went to that breakout room. It was a good time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It was so good. I got another quote, Wilmo. I stole another, well, excuse me, borrowed, if you're going to, you know, give him credit.
It's another Wally special.
Now, okay, so Wally been dropping gems all day. I already told him if he sees something on IG from me, at least I'm gonna give him credit. But this one was from John. John said something so good. He said, "Art feeds life, and life feeds art." And on that note,
bars.
That, I mean, that's pretty much what a creator of culture is, right? It's like understanding that the art feeds the life that we have, and then with that we feel inspired and we get cultivated and we grow and we take it back out and sow it back. So
right,
man,
you can't have one without the other. It's pretty much a thing where you have to be able to live some as well. And I think that's something when we were younger, like we were just workhorses, like work, like nonstop. And it's something where as we got older, it's like, okay, no, we actually have to start having life experiences to be able to go ahead and pull from more, learning more, and being able to kind of, you know, share that information by way of whatever it is that we do.
Wow.
So that was that was always a big takeaway for me, like especially over these last 42 some odd years, you know, like we all can't be beast of burden like the whole time. We actually have to be able to feed the motor, you know what I'm saying? Feed the engine.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
That's so good, man. I just had to get that quote. So if you see that on Instagram, go ahead. Just go ahead. Yes, y'all. So now we're gonna open up the floor to the whole block. So if y'all got a question, please feel free. It doesn't have to be about anything specific to even this theme, but if there's anything you want to ask our awesome panel, our awesome people, please feel free to do so. And we're gonna leave you the space. Because we the block, we family, it's a safe space. All I know is, Wilmo, I feel like a student to the game. Okay?
All right, I got a question then.
Yes,
I'm interested for both on the Su Casa as well as God City side. What would you say were some of your frustrations in trying to do what you have done as far as creating space for the culture, for your community? What would you say were some of the most frustrating things in that process for you?
I'd say, I think early on, I definitely had I had a frustration with the fact that Charlotte is different in terms of, like, I've always said public transportation. I mean, I grew up, I'm a native, and I grew up in Hidden Valley as well, and went to West Charlotte. Shout out Lions. And you know, the transportation thing in Charlotte makes it so difficult. And so finding central space to advertise when advertising wasn't via social media and letting people know. So you do, like, I saw a couple of people in the chat that was like, I had no idea this type of thing existed in Charlotte. And I feel like since Su Casa, like there's been lots of other things to pop up and happen. And you know, it's getting to the point where like you could just pick a day. And so to have people still feel like, wow, I didn't know this happened. So, you know, being in spaces where I have a part-time job and I'm around a lot of people that are from the Caribbean, from the continent. And so, you know, those people being like what? Like, you know, you're playing South African house. Like, I haven't heard that since I was in Zimbabwe. And then, you know, Su Casa's always been very word of mouth. So I'd say that was a frustration. Also, you know, I mean, which kind of goes back to what Davita was saying at the beginning, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, like this didn't happen in Charlotte, so I'm coming and I'm gonna do it. And it's like, man, that's been happening here, but I get it. You know. So that I'd say that could be a frustration.
Cool.
I'm gonna say too, a lot of frustration personally for me was, and still is sometimes, getting funding to do things here. You know what I mean? Like, you see things happen and you're like, yo, how did they get funded for that? And sometimes it's the connections, sometimes it's just knowing the right this or the right that. But I mean, again, we would still go out and do it. We'd figure it out. You know, we came from a background of hustlers, so it's not like we were just gonna sit and wait. But you look around, and you're like, man, if we had the right funding, or if we had the right this or that, we could really turn this into something so much greater, you know. But I know we were also doing things at a time when Charlotte wasn't really trying to do anything but be a banking city. You know what I mean? There was a lot of other forces at play, and probably still are in a lot of ways. But that was a big frustration for me personally, like just the fight that we sometimes had to go through to pull things off or to make things happen. But I mean, I think that also correlates directly to the struggle of just being young and black, period, and doing something. You know what I mean? Because some of the obstacles we had, other people never had to go through. Conversations they never had to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
I mean,
you know.
and just to like hit that real quick, just like I was saying earlier when we were talking about just like scaling, and I'm saying like if you think I haven't gone to museums like 4 years ago and said like, hey, I'd love to do this, and it's been like, yeah, so our rental fee is $1,000 per hour.
Right.
Wait, no, I'm bringing art and culture here. Like, understand I have something established. Yeah, so our rental fee is so, you know, it's a thing, and I'm sure it's changing now.
I think to piggyback on that, I think us being creatives never really stopped us though. Despite not having funding, despite somebody saying no, that was our jobs as like young black creatives. It was like, how do we make this work? How do we make this work with like, you know, I was talking to a kid and he didn't want to, you know, I was doing a workshop and the kid he didn't want to do his project because he didn't have an orange marker. But I was like, you not having an orange marker shouldn't stop you. That's part of you being a creative. And like Jay mentioned earlier, despite like a museum saying no, like I was at the first Su Casa in her apartment, which was like, I remember it was wild. It was like elephants and horses and like
Remember
goats.
they had a flame juggler? Remember the flame juggler that one time that came in the parking lot?
And stuff. But no, I say that. And I
That
remember,
was a birthday Su Casa though, in defense of the fire.
But it was everything. No, it was great.
yeah, but like that didn't like, and we get deterred a lot as like as like creatives or whatnot. Like, yo, it don't take, yo, like you make it like it don't take. I don't need a band to be an MC. Like, you know, we're creatives. Like, damn it, if somebody was gonna stop us from having that first God City art show, whether we had no money, whatever, like we're gonna find a way. Even if we had to make our canvases, you know, create our own colors with the paint and put some and find a place. And that was part of that whole hip hop graffiti culture. So I don't want anybody to be like, funding is important. Don't get me wrong, because I love some nice funding. Shout out to the ASC, but and shout out to, you know, like the block, you know, like all of the stuff. But like but yeah, I just don't want people to be like, yo, like, you know, I can't find this spot, or I'm not gonna do this, or like, yo, don't let that dream sit. Like, go get after it, because you know, the only person that could really stop the creative is yourself.
And I think
Yeah.
that was the whole thing that made us kind of different, was just that we were so used to being told no, that the most hip hop thing you could do really was find a way out of no way. Be it like, you know, like the block parties they used to have like back in the 70s, where you would kind of take power from someplace else, or, you know, taking records that were already there. It was very much a found object thing because we were used to being told no and making a way out of no way. So you can still make that totally happen. Sorry, I just thought I'd piggyback on.
I caught Wally rapping into a hairbrush one time when he didn't even have a mic.
False.
Yeah.
False. I didn't have a mic, but it definitely wasn't a
Any way
hairbrush.
you can get it. Any way you can get it in front
It
of
was
the
a
mirror.
cone with a black fist on the end, because that made a beautiful mic. But yeah, I mean, like our biggest thing for us is like failure's a lesson, if you even want to
Yeah.
call it failure. Like, you really don't fail until you stop. So we just never understood stopping. And we probably were too hard-headed or too stubborn to listen to anybody telling us we couldn't. We've been told no, like John said, our whole entire lives. Like,
Right.
I come from the ghetto. I'm not supposed to be making a living drawing. Nobody told me I could draw and make a living, because nobody understood that. Good Times was the first time I saw a Black person painting and learned about Ernie Barnes being from North Carolina. I'm like, yo, this is possible? This is a thing? Because who talks about that, especially where we come from? Who talks about that? Who understands that concept enough to even know how to support? My mom, she still doesn't quite. She probably think I'm some kind of secret drug dealer right now. Like, she still doesn't quite understand it, but she always respected it and tried to support it how she could to the best of her means. And you look around and you're like, wow, I know other people. You don't even realize. It's like when I was growing up in Earl Village. If you've been in Charlotte long enough, you know what Earl Village was. I didn't know how rough Earl Village was growing up there until I got out. And I looked back and I was like, yo, we were surviving that. Those are the conditions we come from. This story has to be told. So, a lot of it for us was just, we want to make sure there's a voice. We want to make sure there's a story. And whatever the obstacles are, frustrating or not, we're going to keep pushing through it, or around it, or under it, or whatever we got to do to still maintain. Because as a people, we've been making something out of nothing since we first existed on the planet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, not to get too political or too, whatever. But we get passionate about it,
Passion is welcomed here, Wally.
Appreciate it.
Listen, y'all. Honestly, I don't want to end, Wilmo. This is always the part that I'm like, what? And then you look up and it's like already 8, and it's like, what do you mean?
No.
Right?
Now it's time to say goodbye. I know. I hate every segment. I hate when it's over, man. Just such fulfilling conversation, just so needed in this space.
Facts.
To not only learn, but to vent, to hear other frustrations, to know you're not alone. These things are important. I appreciate all of the voices we've heard today. I can't wait until the next one. I'm hyped.
Heavy on the retweet, Wilmo. So speaking of the next one, y'all, be sure to join us April 8th at 6:30. But before then, we got a treat for y'all. So in March, make sure that you are following at It's the Block _ at It's Hugh House. Y'all throw in all of the ats so people can follow, because Wilmo and I will be having a conversation offline with God City and with JC Addicts. So I am so excited. Make sure that y'all are following us so you can hop on the IG Live. Maybe if you got more questions, tell your friends to hop on, because it's definitely going to be amazing. Okay, so follow and make sure that you stay tuned and stay aware for that live. But in the meantime, mark your calendars, your Palm Pilots, all the things for April 8th at 6:30. That's when we'll join back again in the Zoom room. Thank you all so much for joining us. You already know we family here at the block. Thank you for pulling up for us in the Zoom room. Shout out to Wilmo, love him so much. Shout out to our awesome founder. Shout out to God City and JC Addicts. So grateful for today. Anything else, Wilmo? Am I forgetting anything?
I think you hit it all on. Well, shout out to you. You didn't say that. Shout out to you, Ohavia. Shout out to your billboard that you can check out on North Tryon at the around Matheson and North Tryon. Go check it out. Going north. Leaving town, going north. Make sure you go slow so you can take a picture of it. Put it. You got a hashtag in case we want to take a picture of it in front, like in front of something.
Yeah. Hashtag Lead with Love Amazing.
Lead with Love, baby. There it is. Tell them about it. I was a lob. I set you up so you can hit them with the hashtag Lead with Love. That's all right, O'Havy. I'm so proud of you. I know what to do. Salute to you, Queen.
Thank you. I love you. Thanks, Wilmo. I love y'all. All right. So before I start crying, y'all, mark your Palm Pilot and be on for the next block. And we gonna see y'all on the block.